My roommate loved to use the bride price as a leash on her man. Every time he brought her a meal, she'd knock 200 off the price. Pick up a package for her? That's 500 off. Write her term paper? 2 grand off, I told her. Girls really shouldn't objectify themselves. She listened to me and stopped that nonsense. But when her boyfriend proposed, she demanded 200,000, a total power move. My roommate said, "Women aren't merchandise, so I can't give myself a discount." So all those discounts I promised you are off the table? Her boyfriend couldn't come up with the money, so he took all his rage and dumped it on me. On graduation day, he came at me with a knife and killed me. If you hadn't butted in, I could have married her without spending a cent. Then I opened my eyes, and I was back on the day my roommate first started cutting her own bride price. "Babe, since you worked so hard today, when we get married, I'll knock 10 grand off the bride price." Hearing that all too familiar voice, I knew I'd been reborn. On the very first day of freshman year, my roommate Wang Shuchu, after lowering her price in front of her boyfriend, pulled us aside and mysteriously preached her man-taming technique. If you want a man to treat you right willingly, you gotta give him a little taste of the reward. Like my boyfriend and I agreed. He'd give me 100 grand in bride price. But before the wedding, every time he brings me a meal, 200 off. Pick up a package? 500 off. Write a paper for me? 2 grand off. On one hand, he feels like he's getting a deal, thinking he's scored a bargain. And on the other, I get to enjoy all his free labor. It's a win-win. Ladies, if you've got a guy, you should totally try my method. I guarantee he'll be wrapped around your finger. Hearing that, I frowned. Only merchandise? Gets marked down again and again. Isn't she basically treating herself like a product waiting for a man to buy? And a cheap one at that. By the time he's done all her chores, he could end up paying absolutely nothing to marry her. Having been exposed to feminist ideas, I blurted out without thinking. Girls really shouldn't objectify themselves. Wang Shushu's face froze for a second, and the other roommates chimed in, agreeing with me. To save face, she reluctantly said she'd stop that behavior. But little did I know she'd double down in private, using the bride price as her trump card, demanding her boyfriend Zhang Chen to be her slave. But in the end, when Zhang Chen asked when they'd get the marriage certificate, she said, "You haven't paid the bride price yet." What certificate? Faced with Zhang Chen's questioning, she threw me under the bus without hesitation. My roommate said, "Women aren't products, so those discounts I promised you are off the table. If you want to marry me, you better have 200,000 in bride price as a sign of sincerity." Zhang Chen's family was below the poverty line in the countryside. Forget 200,000? Even 20 grand was a stretch. After realizing he'd been played for 4 years, he took all his rage out on me, and on graduation day, he stabbed me to death. Living a second life, I swore I'd make this pair of scumbags pay in blood. When Zhang Chen heard the price could be cut by 10,000, he worked even harder. He not only made Wang Shuchu's bed, but also mopped the dorm floor until it sparkled. The other 2 roommates, Yuan Hui and Zhao Mian, couldn't help but sigh.
"Your boyfriend is so sweet and considerate."
Hearing the praise, Zhang Chen bent over mopping, curled his lips, but I let out a cold sneer. That sweetness was just a facade he put on. A guy like him crawling out of some backwater. A real Phoenix man. No family background, no connections, and no looks. If he didn't act sweet and caring, how could he trick a naive girl like Wang Shushu? Wang Shuchu's eyes drifted toward me, expecting me to gush over her, like the other 2 did, as she wished. I not only praised her luck, but also called their love a once-in-a-lifetime romance. Just as she was floating on cloud 9, I changed the subject. "Your boyfriend worked so hard today. Cutting 10 grand is too little. You should at least take off 20 grand. Wang Shuchu's smile froze. 100,000 bride price. Not a small sum, but not exactly huge either. Losing 20 grand right at the start of the semester, over the next 4 years. What excuse would she have to make? Chang Chen her personal servant? Wang Shuchu wasn't stupid. She probably figured that out too, or she wouldn't have stayed silent that long. Zhang Chen immediately stopped mopping, a glint of greed flashing in his eyes,
and started haggling. "Ting ting. I think your roommate's got a point. On a scorching day like this, I ran back and forth picking up packages for you more than a dozen times, not to mention accompanying you to registration and buying all your daily necessities. Considering I nearly got heat stroke today, why not just knock off 20 grand for me?"
Wang Shuchu, for the sake of appearances, though unwilling inside, relented. "Fine, I'll cut 20 grand. But if you slack off later, I'll add it right back. You know,
Jiang Chen nodded and bowed. No way, no way. I'll treat you like a queen.
seeing Jiang Chen so obedient, Wang Xiuchu's face once again broke into a smug grin. I thought to myself, laugh it up now, because when you finally see this guy's true colors, you won't be laughing then. In the middle of the night, I was suddenly woken by some noise. Pulling back the curtain, I realized Wang Xiuchu was on the phone, with her boyfriend crying about how her period cramps were killing her. At 3 a.m., she put it on speakerphone, oblivious to everyone. Who could put up with that? I angrily slammed my bedboard and yelled at her to shut up.
Zhao Min also complained, exasperated. Okay. Save it for tomorrow. Even if you scream your lungs out at this hour, your boyfriend can't get you meds anyway.
She snorted from her nose. That's not necessarily true. The school had no 24-hour pharmacy, and it was far from the city. Even if you ordered on Meituan, no delivery driver would take it. In the dead of night, could her boyfriend just conjure it out of thin air? But an hour later, to my surprise, he came trotting over and picked up the medicine downstairs. He came back all smug.
Told you. In your face, single losers.
We only found out during military training, from the guys in the next platoon, where that medicine actually came from. Turns out to get her the ibuprofen. He didn't hesitate to knock on the dorm matron's door at midnight, dropped to his knees with a thud, and spent 10 minutes playing the victim. The matron complained about it the next day.
These kids nowadays, no sense of boundaries. I'm old enough to be their grandmother, and I got dragged into their little drama.
After that incident, public opinion was split. Some mocked Jiang Chen as the school's biggest simp, throwing away the principle that men don't kneel easily just for a girl. Others envied Wang Xiuchu for having such a dramatic love story, envied her for having a boyfriend who did everything she said. But what they didn't know was no one in this world gives unconditionally without expecting something back. Rather than saying Jiang Chen was devoted to Wang Xiuchu, he was devoted to the money. Once the bride price was completely written off, he'd show a whole different side. Wang Xiuchu had one annoying habit. She was super forgetful, often forgetting to lock the shared bike after using it, so her phone kept racking up charges. So Jiang Chen would often be forced, in the scorching midday sun, to search the campus bike by bike for the exact one she'd used. Jiang Chen, determined to save up for his wife, really went all out. Rain or shine, blazing heat or storm, the moment Wang Xiuchu gave the order, even if he was on the toilet, he'd come running like her errand boy. Gradually, people stopped using his name. They just called him the simp. Someone jokingly asked,
"What's so special about Wang Xiuxia, that you'd simp that hard?"
Every time he'd just smile and stay quiet. Because Wang Xiuchu really didn't have much to offer. The only reason Jiang Chen was so devoted was because he couldn't find another sucker as dumb as her. She not only sold herself for 100 grand, but even gave him ideas on how to marry her for free. Everyone thought he stayed quiet, out of shyness, but only I caught the flash of malice in his eyes. That night after my run, I saw them arguing downstairs at the dorm.
Only 200 off each time? Do you know how many times I've had to go lock that bike for you and nearly gotten heat stroke? I almost died out there. You know what everyone calls me? They call me a simp. The biggest simp on campus. I put up with all that humiliation. For you? And in the end, you only give me 200? You're treating me like a beggar!
Wang Xiuchu was unhappy. We've already cut 30 grand since school started. I'm afraid my bride price will be gone before I know it.
Unexpectedly, Jiang Chen blurted out, "Good riddance."
That set off a huge fight. And Wang Xiuchu even broke up with him. My heart sank. If they break up, how could I get my revenge? So I rushed over and said, "He's not after your money. He means that without the bride price, you two can get married sooner."
Jiang Chen immediately played along. Ting Ting, I really don't care about your money. I just want to be with you as soon as possible. After we're married, I'll treat you 1,000 times better than I do now. You can boss me around all you want.
Wang Xiuchu thought for a moment. I figured she was picturing herself as a princess and Jiang Chen as her slave. Fine, I'll go with that. You've done so much for me. I'll knock off 5,000 total.
Jiang Chen smiled. That's my good girl.
They started making out shamelessly again. I walked away with a cold laugh. Trash and trash belong together. They should be stuck with each other and go to hell together. I never expected Wang Xiuchu to turn that same game on us. I planned to get married right after graduation, and as my roommates, You'll definitely have to give wedding gifts. Since we're classmates, I won't ask for much. Just 10,000 each. Will do.
Genkai gasped. 10 grand. Back home. That would cover a ton of banquet meals.
Wang Shuchu scoffed. That backwater village of yours can't compare to our first-tier city. After a moment, she graciously said, Fine, fine. We see each other every day. I won't make things hard for you. How about this? Every time you help me with a task, I'll knock some off the gift money. By the time I get married, you won't have to stress about the cost. Jiaomin, you've got delicate hands. Wash my underwear once, and I'll deduct 100. Yanhui, you're good at scrubbing shoes. Clean my sneakers once. 200 off. And Shen Meng, you're the best at makeup. So every morning you get up half an hour early and do my makeup. And I'll give you 300 off, deal? Aren't I generous? Generous, my ass. I have class at 8 a.m. every day. I don't even have time for breakfast. And you want me to get up early to do your makeup? If you're that good at dreaming, why not just lie in a coffin and sleep forever? The other two roommates had the same look as me, like they'd been struck by lightning. On a clear day, completely speechless, Wang Shuchu took our silence as agreement and started ordering us around without a word. She opened her closet, pulled out a pile of balled-up underwear and tossed them at Zhao Min. There are 10 pairs. Wash them and I'll take off 1,000.
She thought her discount scheme would work on anyone. But Zhao Min wasn't having it. She cussed her out right there. Wang Shuchu, are you insane? Throwing that yellow stinking mess in my face. What if I catch a disease?
Wang Shuchu got angry. Who are you calling sick? I'm giving you this chance, because we're classmates, to reduce your gift money, so don't be ungrateful.
Zhao Min fired back. You're the ungrateful one. I might not even show up to your wedding, and you're already counting on my gift. You're that desperate for cash? Were you starved to death in a past life? Your greed is disgusting.
I silently gave Zhao Min a thumbs up. Wang Shuchu's face turned purple with rage. She sat there furiously typing on her phone. No doubt she was complaining to her boyfriend about us. A moment later, she put down her phone, looked at me arrogantly. I have a date later. You do my makeup and use your own products. Of course, I won't use them for free. On top of the 300 off, I'll knock off another 20 as payment for your makeup. When you're completely speechless, you really just laugh. $20 for my makeup? That barely covers 2 pumps of foundation and her big face. I'd guess one face would take at least 4 pumps, not to mention powder, blush, eyeshadow, highlighter, contour, and lipstick. All that together. 20 won't cut it, even 200 is iffy. But since she's so eager for me to do her makeup, I'll give her what she wants. I pulled out a bottle of foot lotion from my drawer, poured half a palmful, and without a word, slathered it all over her face. Wang Shuchu was startled by my sudden move and opened her mouth to curse. But the moment she did, the foot lotion on my hand went straight into her mouth. Not just her mouth, her eyes, nose. I covered everything. Looking at her right in front of me, I remembered the pain of the knife, piercing my lungs in my past life. If killing weren't illegal, I'd smother her right now. The whole dorm echoed with her earth-shattering screams. Ah, my eyes are burning. My mouth tastes so bitter. My nose hurts so bad. Hahaha. Grandma's foot cream really does the trick. Water, give me water. She groped blindly on the table. I quietly slid her thermos right under her hand. Without a second thought, she unscrewed the lid and poured it on her face. Another blood-curdling scream echoed through the dorm. Ah, my face. Half an hour later, Wang Shuchu, with a swollen red face, glared at me, her rage burning, as if she wanted to tear me apart. Shen Meng, you ruined my face. You owe me 20,000. She's got some nerve. That pockmarked, bumpy face. If that's worth 20 grand, mine would be worth 200. I shrugged. You're the one who asked me to do your makeup. Blame yourself. But you didn't even use high-end skincare. And your $20 wouldn't even cover the cost of high-end stuff anyway. She was so choked up she couldn't speak. Put on a mask and slammed the door on her way out. Not before dropping a threat. Just you wait. The next day during military training, the drill instructor, Lin Chuan, was as fiery as if he'd been shot out of a cannon. He was totally raging. Sweat was running into my eyes, so I blinked uncomfortably. But he tore into me, out of nowhere.
If you don't want to train, go apply to drop out. Don't give me that attitude.
Zhao Min really had to go. but she reported several times, and he ignored her. Finally, she couldn't hold it and squeezed her legs together. Who knew that tiny movement would get her caught?
He stood in front of her with a cold face and said sarcastically, "How many times have I told you? You have to report before moving. Can't even remember something that simple? I don't know how a pig brain like you even got into college."
Wenkai got it worst. Just because she breathed a little louder, he accused her of disrespecting him. In the end, the three of us were singled out and made to stand in a row. While others stood at attention, we stood at attention. When others rested, we kept standing at attention. Back in the dorm, the three of us were so exhausted, we were about to collapse.
Zhao said weakly. Is the instructor on his period today or what? Why so cranky?
I got punished the longest. So tired I could barely catch my breath. But the more exhausted I got, the clearer my mind became. Instinct told me. Today's events weren't that simple. It's normal for an instructor to punish students, but the weird part was that everyone he punished was from our dorm, and we three had just argued with Wang Shuchu yesterday. To test my theory, over the next few days, I carefully watched their behavior. Sure enough, Wang Shuchu and the instructor had something going on. Since Wang Shuchu and I were tall, we stood in the back row, and every time the instructor walked past her, he'd sneak a feel of her. But Wang Shuchu held a grudge against us for not following her orders. So after she hooked up with the instructor, the first thing she did was use him to torment us. A few words from her mouth showed off her power and won the girl's favor. That kind of deal was too good for Lin Chuan to pass up. I thought about using the cheating as leverage to bargain with Wang Shuchu to get her to stop torturing us. But then I thought again. I had no solid evidence to show, just words out of my mouth. Shangchen wouldn't believe me, and might even blame me for driving a wedge between them. The best way was to let him see it with his own eyes. That afternoon, I was once again sacrificed by Lin Chuan to please Wang Shuchu. Just because I leaned slightly forward, while standing at attention, he singled me out and made me do horse stance under the blazing sun, watching me shake and sweat, completely drenched. Wang Shuchu was grinning from ear to ear. She mouthed to me from across the field. "Serves you right." Lin Chuan crept over beside her, and when no one was looking, put his hands on her butt again. I swallowed my anger and watched a figure getting closer. I smiled, then quietly flipped Wang Shuchu the middle finger and mouthed, "Loser." Her eyes went wide with rage. She must have said something to Lin Chuan, because he took his hand off her and stormed toward me with a furious face. But before he'd taken 3 steps, a soda can flew in from nowhere and nailed him in the back of the head. Lin Chuan cursed in pain, but before he could get up,
Zhang Chen kicked him in the gut, yelling as he kicked, "Who the hell do you think you are? You dare touch my woman?" And putting your hands on her ass. So perverted. You disgrace that uniform. You try to steal my girl? I'll kick you to death.
Zhang Chen was like a crazed beast, landing punch after punch on Lin Chuan. But Lin Chuan wasn't a pushover either. He quickly gained the upper hand, and in a few moves had Zhang Chen bruised and bloody. Everyone around was stunned. No one dared to step in. Only Wang Shuchu stood there, screaming frantically, "Stop, cut it out."
Lin Chuan punched him in the face. "Bitch, you told me you were single."
The fight quickly turned into a 2-against-1 brawl. Finally, an instructor from the next platoon noticed the commotion, ran over and broke it up. Putting out the fire, Lin Chuan, Zhang Chen, and Wang Shuchu were all hauled to the office. Everyone around breathed a sigh of relief.
Zhao just plopped down on the ground. Wow, what a show. I've been sick of those two. Scumbags for ages. We're here training. And they're out here flirting. So shameless. I hope the school kicks that trash instructor out. But wait, wasn't her boyfriend training at the South Field? Why would he show up here? To catch her cheating?
Why else? Because of me, of course. I deliberately went to Zhang Chen and casually mentioned that Wang Shuchu kept forgetting her water bottle. During training, I hinted that if he brought her a cold drink right then, she might be so touched, she'd knock off 20 or 30 grand. What's 20 or 30 grand? It's what Zhang Chen would earn by delivering dozens of meals in the rain and hauling packages under the blazing sun. A fortune to him. Lin Chuan, relying on his instructor status, figured no one would call him out. So he flirted with Wang Shuchu more and more often and got bolder each time. That's exactly why I could come up with this perfect 2 birds, 1 stone plan. I handed over the recording of Lin Chuan, verbally abusing students to the administration, and with his misconduct, the school kicked him out on the spot. Zhang Chen got a serious demerit for fighting, and though Wang Xuchu was too timing, she didn't break any school rules, so the school didn't punish her. But the cracks in their relationship were already showing.
I gave you my all. And you cheated on me! Do you have any idea what I've sacrificed? I don't care. This time I got a demerit for you. A huge one. You owe me compensation. There's 50 grand left. Wipe it all out now.
Wang Xuchu freaked out. No way.
Zhang Chen exploded. I've been mocked by everyone for you. Nearly got expelled, and asking for 50 grand is already letting you off easy. If you won't agree, then we're done, and you'll pay me back in cash. For all the discounts I earned.
Wang Xuchu might act like some rich heiress, but her parents were just regular working class folks, giving her only 1,000 a month. They were tight with money, yet dreamed she'd snag a rich husband after graduation. Growing up in that environment, it's no surprise she came up with the idea of using the bride price as a weapon. Not surprising at all. Because she hooked up with the instructor, everyone laughed at her, and Zhang Chen was the only one willing to stand by her. With no one else to turn to, even though she didn't want to, she caved and agreed to his demand. The remaining 50 grand was wiped out. She thought that would win Zhang Chen back, but little did she know it was only the beginning of her nightmare. A man's true colors show in the blink of an eye. The guy who used to worship the ground she walked on now had the upper hand and started bossing her around.
It's pouring rain. Why do you have to have that? Clay pot rice from outside the gate? Can't you eat at the cafeteria? I have an 8 a.m. class tomorrow. How am I supposed to go downtown for your breakfast? The pickup point closes at 10. And it's already 9:50. You want me to run and get your package now? You expect me to fly? Can you stop being so damn unreasonable?
Wang Xuchu would often take his calls in the dorm, and his tone got more unhinged each time, more and more aggressive. He didn't care if we heard. He always put it on speaker. Zhang Chen on the other end acted like he owned the world, full of himself, with none of his former groveling left.
I'm unreasonable? Wang Xuxu, have you forgotten? You used to treat me exactly like this. You're going whether you like it or not. And don't forget, you already sold yourself. To me for 100 grand. You belong to me now. I'm your master. You do what I say! Now get your ass over there and pick up my package.
Wang Xuchu didn't even put on shoes. She ran out of the dorm barefoot.
Zhao Min gave me a knowing look. Karma, huh?
I smiled slightly and said with a sweet fake tone, "Oh, absolutely." A few days later, I was alone in the dorm when Wang Xuchu stumbled in looking a mess. Seeing me, she lunged like a wild animal, grabbing my arm hard. "Was it you? Did you deliberately bring Zhang Chen to the field?" I yanked my arm free and slapped her across the face. "Take your crazy somewhere else." Wang Xuchu must have heard something from Zhang Chen, but she had no solid proof, which is why she came to grill me. She was all bark and no bite. After that slap, all her fire died out. She just squatted down and sobbed. "That jerk Zhang Chen. He doesn't even treat me like a human. He bosses me around 100 times a day. Even a workhorse wouldn't be this exhausted." After a moment, she dried her tears and stood up, muttering to the wall, but her voice was firm. "I'm breaking up with him." Watching her determined back, I knew she was dead serious this time. But how could I let that happen? From the very first day I came back, I told myself I'd chain those two toxic losers together and send them both to hell. The moment Wang Xuchu walked out, I pulled up the number I'd saved not long ago and dialed straight away. Zhang Chen refused to accept the breakup and showed up at our classroom the next day to make a huge scene.
You're the one who said it yourself. Once the 100 grand was paid off, you'd marry me. I busted my ass for you, slaved away for so long, finally cleared that 100 grand, and now you dump me? Are you playing me?
Wang Xuchu was in full screw it all mode. Who knew you'd be so dumb as to believe everything I said? You think I'd actually marry you? Look at where you're from. That godforsaken poverty pit. Forget 100 grand. Even 200 or 300 grand wouldn't get me to say yes.
Zhang Chen slapped her across the face. You bitch, you lied to me.
It was a long break between classes. The teacher hadn't arrived yet, and the whole classroom was full of gossip-hungry students, no one wanting to get involved. They all just watched from the sidelines. Wang Xuchu was knocked to the ground, holding her face and wailing. "You dare hit me? I'm calling the cops." She pulled out her phone, ready to dial 911, when a woman in rough linen clothes, her face weathered and worn, burst out from the crowd.
And threw herself at her. Don't call the police! Daughter-in-law, if something's upsetting you, you can tell your mother-in-law. Just don't call the police!
The crowd started buzzing.
Why's that lady calling her daughter-in-law? Did Wang Shuchu actually get married? Probably.
She was always going on about,
The bride price in front of us. Must be married already. Otherwise, why would they be talking about the bride price?
Wang Shuchu quickly snapped out of it and shoved the older woman away. Old hag, have you lost your mind? Who's your daughter-in-law?
Zhang Chen rushed to help her up. Mom, are you okay?
This woman was Zhang Chen's mother. I'd accidentally seen Zhang Chen's personal info sheet on the counselor's desk, which had his phone number on it. From that moment on, I'd thought of using her to take down Wang Shuchu. A widowed mother will do anything for her son. Absolutely anything. Sure enough, the moment she heard her son had landed, a girlfriend who didn't want a bride price, she was over the moon. Then when she heard the girl wanted to break up with her son, she panicked harder than anyone and caught a hard-seat train that very night. After confirming his mom was okay,
Zhang Chen kicked Wang Shushu. Try touching my mom again and see what happens.
Zhang's mom quickly stepped in. Easy, easy. Don't hurt the baby in her belly.
now it wasn't just Wang Shuchu who froze. Zhang Chen did too. Zhang's mom pulled her aside, and after some quick whispering, Zhang Chen's rage instantly softened.
And he gently helped Wang Shushu up off the floor. Okay, stop this. I know you're just acting out because of the pregnancy, and that's why you wanted to break up. Now that you've let off steam, come and greet my mom properly.
Wang Shuchu found some strength from nowhere, shook off Zhang Chen's hand, and cursed them both out. I'm not pregnant. You two are putting on a show. Acting together. You think I can't see through it? And you want me to greet your mom? Who does she think she is? I'd get dirty just looking at her. Zhang Chen, let me tell you, even if you brought your whole, entire village here, I'm never getting back with you. Look at you, so pathetic and broke. I never liked you to begin with. Zhang's mom heard that, and her face fell, those murky eyes, gleaming with cunning and malice. But the next second, that wrinkled old face of hers suddenly cracked into a grin.
And she said to the crowd, "Sorry, everyone, you had to see this. My daughter-in-law just got pregnant, so her emotions are all over the place. I'll take her back to rest now."
With that, Zhang's mom grabbed Wang Shushu and pulled her out. Zhang's mom shot Zhang Chen a look, and he understood instantly.
Stepping up to hold Wang Shuchu and saying gently, "Ting ting, I know you're just mad at me. Come on, let's go back first. We can work this out in private."
Wang Shuchu was no match for the Zhang mother-son duo. No matter how she struggled, she couldn't break free from them. She could only scream hysterically, "I'm not pregnant! They're human traffickers! Someone call the cops!" Call the cops for her? No way. I stepped forward and said, "Honestly, Ting Ting was crying in the dorm yesterday, begging to meet his parents. And now that they're here, she's throwing a fit again. I really don't get her." Thanks to Wang Shuchu's earlier habit of flaunting her relationship, everyone knew Zhang Chen was her boyfriend. So when she was dragged away, no one suspected a thing. They just figured it was a couple's quarrel. Plus, with me, her roommate, backing it up, everyone was even more convinced. The trafficker claim was ridiculous. They chatted for a bit and then went back to their own business. Wang Shuchu didn't show up for a week, and neither did Zhang Chen. Just as people started wondering if they'd vanished, an online news story cleared everything up. Police found a woman's body in a cheap motel and confirmed it was Wang Shuchu, who'd been missing for a week. Her cause of death, her artery, was severed by a sharp object. She bled out and died. The killers were caught quickly. Zhang Chen and his mother. It turned out that after they took her, they wanted her to go back to the dorm to get her ID and register the marriage, but she absolutely refused. Zhang's mom flew into a rage and locked her up in that cheap motel, torturing her in different ways every day. After enduring all that, she finally agreed to go back to their village. Zhang's mom happily untied her, but Wang Shushu immediately kicked Zhang's mom in the gut, grabbed a fruit knife, and tried to stab her in the chest. Zhang Chen walked in just then, with food, panicked, grabbed the knife away, and accidentally killed Wang Shuchu. Mother and son were terrified of getting caught, and bought tickets to flee that night. But justice has a long reach. No one escapes forever. They hadn't even left the station before the police, waiting there, grabbed them. When news of this tragedy broke, Everyone was in shock.
Even Zhao Min, who hated Wang Xiuqiu the most, couldn't help but sigh. If I'd known it would end like this, I would have stopped them from taking her away. Don't you think so, Meng Meng?
She got nothing but my cold stare in return. Chaomin had never experienced the pain I suffered in my past life. So of course she didn't know how much I hated Wang Xiuqiu. Countless nights I couldn't sleep. Terrified I wouldn't get my revenge. I'd have torn her apart if I could. So why would I save her? The verdict for Zhang Chen and his mom came quickly. For intentional homicide, Zhang Chen was sentenced to death, and his mother, as an accomplice, got 10 years in prison. Wang Xiuqiu's body lay in the morgue, unclaimed for a long time. Word was her parents thought it was too shameful, afraid it would ruin their son's future back home, so they refused to come. On the day Zhang Chen was executed, I got a call from my mom. She asked if I'd come home for dinner that weekend, and I didn't hesitate. Yes, in my past life, my mom had made a big feast at home, waiting for me to come back after graduation to celebrate. Who knew that after I hung up, we'd be separated forever? The moment I walked out of the teaching building, a ray of sunlight fell on me. The dinner I missed in my past life. This time I'd have it with my mom again and again. The day Zhang Chen was executed, the sky in Jiangcheng was unusually clear. Warm sunlight streamed through the glass walls of the building, and when it touched my shoulders, it actually chased away the chill that had lived in my heart for years. Mom's voice on the phone carried the scent of home-cooked food. Just come home for dinner? Made my nose sting. I wiped my face and felt warmth I hadn't felt in ages. Not the cold, sticky blood of my death in my past life. I went back to the dorm and packed up my things. Yuanhui and Zhaoming were scrolling through the latest comments on Wang Xiuqiu's case. When I walked in, they both paused, and the atmosphere got a little awkward.
Zhao Min put down her phone, hesitating. Meng Meng that day. I've been feeling like something was off. If I'd yelled out a few more times, would things have been different?
Not your fault. I cut her off, my voice calm, without a ripple. She chose her own path from the moment she used the bride price as leverage and took other people's efforts for granted. The ending was already written. Yuanhai sighed softly
and slipped a piece of candy into my hand. Enough of that. We've already passed our defense. The three of us should take our graduation photos together next week and hit up that hot pot place you love.
I held that fruit candy, its wrapper crinkling in my palm, and nodded. This time around, I didn't isolate myself because I couldn't stand Wang Xiuqiu's behavior like last time, nor did I trap myself in some self-righteous cage. Instead, I learned to watch coldly, to go with the flow, and let those two twisted souls reap what they sowed. I'm no saint. I'm just someone who had her life taken once, trying to protect herself and her family. On graduation photo day, the sun was perfect. I stood between Yuan Hui and Zhao Min, and the smile on my face was genuine. In that moment, the camera clicked. I remembered my past life's graduation photo. Wang Xiuqiu standing next to me, clinging to Zhang Chen's arm, smiling smugly, and me looking annoyed, completely out of place among all the noise. Now looking back, I had true friends beside me, 4 years of youth behind me. No shadows, only light. Afterward, we went for hot pot. The red broth bubbled, steam softening our features.
Zhao Min took a sip of juice and said suddenly, I've always felt you've been like a different person these past 6 months. Before, when you saw Wang Xiuqiu acting out, you couldn't help but say something. But this time,
people grow up. I picked up a slice of beef with my chopsticks and put it in the pot. Not every wrong needs me to fix it. Some people won't change even when they hit rock bottom. Rather than waste my energy, I'm better off guarding my own boundaries.
Yankai nodded firmly. Exactly. Wang Xiuqiu tried to turn us into her free maids and had the nerve to ask for 10 grand in wedding gifts. Thinking about it now is still insane. Good thing you shut her down, or the two of us would have been under her thumb too.
Halfway through the meal,
Zhao Min suddenly brought up Zhang Chen's mother, saying that old lady had cried and pleaded her innocence in court, saying she just wanted her son to get married. She didn't mean to hurt anyone.
I just curled my lips slightly. Every pitiful person has something hateful about them. She knew full well about the mess between her son and Wang Xiuqiu, yet she was hell-bent on using extreme methods to force Wang Xiuqiu into submission, locking her up, torturing her relentlessly, and in the end, it led to disaster. They got exactly what they deserved. The day before graduation, I walked into that dorm one last time. 4 years had left so many marks there. Laughter, arguments, and nightmares from my past life. I walked over to Wang Shuchu's old bed. It had been empty for a while. Just a bare bed frame, covered in a thin layer of dust. Her belongings had been cleared out by the school after the police investigation. It was said her parents didn't even bother to come see her things. They just told the school to trash everything. People say blood is thicker than water, but in Wang Shuchu's parents' eyes, their daughter's life meant less than their son's future. No wonder Wang Shuchu turned out with such twisted values. Her family had everything to do with it. Her parents favored sons over daughters, using her as a tool to latch on to the rich and powerful. They taught her from a young age how to please others, how to squeeze every drop of benefit out of people, which made Wang Shuchu believe that her marriage could be measured by the bride price, and that her worth could be defined in cash. But even to her death, she never understood that real love is never about scheming and manipulation, but mutual respect and genuine care for each other. She saw herself as a product, thinking she could use the bride price as a leash to keep Zhang Chen in line, but didn't realize that from the start, all he cared about was getting a wife, without spending a dime, not about her as a person. They both had ulterior motives, and together they were nothing but a farce of using each other, which ultimately destroyed them both. And that's poetic justice. The day I left school, Yuanhui and Zhaomin came to see me off. We hugged at the station, promising to meet up often. As the bus slowly pulled out of Jiangcheng, I watched the scenery, receding outside the window, feeling no reluctance, only relief. This city had held the pain and despair of my past life, and now it had witnessed my revenge and rebirth in this one. Now everything had settled, and I could finally let go of the past and head toward my own future. The moment I opened the door at home, the aroma of home-cooked food hit me. Mom came out of the kitchen in her apron.
Smiling. You're back? Go wash your hands. Your favorite sweet and sour ribs just came out of the wok.
Dad was sitting in the living room, reading the financial news, and when he saw me, he put the paper down.
His smile impossible to hide. Graduated, huh? Take it easy now. No rush on the job hunt. If it comes to it, your mum and I can support you forever.
Watching this warm scene, my eyes welled up again. In my past life, I'd lost this warmth forever, but this time I would cherish it with all my heart. At the dinner table, Mom and Dad kept piling food into my bowl, asking a million questions about school. I answered each one, skirting over the whole Wang Shuchu and Zhang Chen mess, just saying everything was fine. Graduation defense went well, and I got along great with my roommates. Some darkness they didn't need to know about. I just wanted them to stay forever in the sunshine, safe, happy, year after year. After resting at home for half a month, I started sending out resumes. Thanks to 4 years of hard work, my grades were at the top, and soon I got interview invitations from several companies. In the end, I chose a media company not far from home. Working as a content editor, the job wasn't easy, but it was fulfilling, and my coworkers were all friendly. We got along really well. Life after work was simple but warm. 9 to 5 every day. Coming home to Mom's cooking. On weekends, either hanging out with Yuanhui and Zhaomin or staying home with my parents. Sometimes taking walks in the park. Reading, it was peaceful and lovely. Only occasionally, late at night, I'd still picture scenes from my past life. That cold knife in Zhang Chen's hand, the searing pain in my chest, and his words, "If you hadn't meddled, I could have married her," without spending a cent. Every time I woke from that nightmare, my pillow would be wet with tears. But when I felt the warm covers beside me and heard Mom and Dad's steady breathing from the next room, the fear would slowly fade. I knew those nightmares would stay with me for life, but they were no longer a cage. Instead, they were a wake-up call to treasure the present, a reminder that darkness in human nature always exists. You don't have to try to change everyone. Just guard your own heart and protect the ones you love. 3 months into the job, the company had a team-building trip to a nearby ancient town. The cobblestone paths wound through the town, lined with old-fashioned shops, streams babbling, birds singing, flowers blooming. It lifted everyone's spirits. Among the colleagues on the trip, there was a guy named Lin Zhou, an engineer in the tech department, quiet but very attentive. During the trip, I accidentally twisted my ankle, and he silently helped me up, found a pharmacy, bought me some liniment, and walked me all the way back to the inn. Over time, We got to know each other. Linjo was a gentle soul. He respected my opinions, understood my feelings, and never tried to manipulate me in any way. He didn't treat love like a transaction. He'd order me a hot milk tea when I worked late, listen quietly when I was down, and take me to the movies, bookstores, or out to the countryside on weekends. Being with him felt easy and natural. I finally understood what real love looks like. It's not about the size of the bride price, not about who's in control. It's two people together, appreciating each other, supporting each other, wanting to become better for the other person. I brought Linjo home to meet my parents, and Dad smiled and patted his shoulder, clearly pleased. Mom went all out in the kitchen, pulling out all her culinary skills. Linjo wasn't talkative, but he was steady and reliable, and incredibly thoughtful toward me. He'd pick food for me at the table, chat with Dad about everyday stuff, watch TV with Mom. Every move of his was sincere. After dinner, Mom pulled me into my room
And whispered, Meng, be honest with Mom. Are you serious about him?
I nodded, smiling. Mom, I'm serious. He's a great guy. He respects me, and he cares about me. I'm really happy with him.
Mom patted my head, her eyes a little red. That's good. Mom just wants you to find someone who truly treats you well, to live a safe, happy life. I used to worry you were too stubborn, that you'd get hurt. But seeing you like this, I'm at ease.
Dad came in too and patted my shoulder. Kid, I trust your judgment. Get along well with Shulin. Be tolerant, understanding, and your life together will just keep getting better.
Having my parents' approval, my heart felt so warm. I knew that in this life, I could finally have a love that was pure and truly mine, one without any scheming or transactional strings attached. In the second year with Linjo, he proposed. No grand ceremony, just a simple one. At the ancient town we'd first visited together, he knelt on one knee, holding a diamond ring, his gaze gentle and steady. Shenmeng, meeting you is the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me. I can't promise our future will be smooth sailing, but I'll do everything I can to protect you for life, to cherish and love you forever. Will you marry me? I looked at him, tears falling instantly, and nodded firmly. Yes, I do. After the engagement, we started planning the wedding. As for the bride price, Linjo brought it up with my parents himself. He said he knew it was a gesture of sincerity, a sign of respect for the bride's parents, and he'd do his best to give me a respectable one. My parents were very open-minded too. They said it was just a formality, not important, as long as Linjo truly loved me. In the end, Linjo gave 88,000, and my parents kept none of it. They added it all to my dowry and gave it back to me. They said it was for us two to start our life together, to build a good home, to buy some household things. On the wedding day, the weather was beautiful. Yenhui and Jiaomin were my bridesmaids.
They looked at me, laughing with tears in their eyes. Meng, you're finally getting married. You have to be happy.
I hugged them, smiling. We will. All of us will be happy. At the ceremony, Linjo held my hand and said to all the guests, I'm not marrying a commodity, but a person I want to cherish for the rest of my life. For all the years to come, through storms and sunshine, I'll walk with her every step, never leaving her side. Thunderous applause from the crowd. I looked into Linjo's eyes, full of love and tenderness. In that moment, I thought of Wang Suchu from my past life. She spent her entire life trying to use the bride price to control a man, trying to define her marriage with money, and in the end, she met a tragic fate. But I let go of my obsessions, guarded my heart, and ultimately found my own happiness. In truth, a woman's worth is never measured by the bride price, nor is it shown by manipulating men. True worth lies in having an independent character, in clear self-awareness, in knowing how to love yourself, and also how to love others. Those who treat themselves as commodities will only be treated as commodities by others. But those who respect themselves and cherish themselves will earn the respect and care of others. Life after marriage was simple and warm. Linjo was just as he'd promised, thoughtful and caring. We commuted together, came home together, cooked together, did chores together, occasionally bickered, but we'd make up quickly. On weekends, we'd go to my parents for dinner, chat with them, or take short trips nearby. Life was simple and happy. Occasionally, I'd still hear people talking about bride prices. Some said you have to ask for a lot. It's a woman's security. Others said it's just selling a daughter. Totally unnecessary. Every time I heard that, I just smile softly. The bride price itself isn't right or wrong. It's how people view it that's the problem. The mistake is using it as leverage to manipulate the other, treating marriage like a transaction. True marriage is two people walking hand in hand, is two families coming together in support. The bride price is just a gesture, a ritual, not a measure of love, and certainly not a tool to control your partner. In the 3rd year of our marriage, I gave birth to a daughter. Her nickname was Anan, meaning peace and safety. Linjo doted on our daughter, changing diapers, making formula, putting her to sleep. He did it all, earning the title of super dad from everyone. My parents often came over to help. Our whole family happy together. Life was vibrant and full. On Annan's 1-month birthday, we held a celebration banquet. Yuanhui and Zhaomin both came, and they'd each found their own happy endings. Wenkai married a doctor, and Zhaomin ended up with her college sweetheart, both of them beaming with happiness.
After a few rounds of drinks, Zhaomin pulled me aside and whispered, Meng Meng, sometimes I still think about Wang Shuqiu. I can't help but feel sorry for her.
I looked at Annan in my arms, fast asleep, her little face all rosy, like a little angel. I gently touched her cheek and smiled. Every pitiful person has something hateful about them. Her misery was her own choice, and also the result of her family's influence. But there's no rewind button in life. You choose your own path, and you have to bear the consequences.
Genkai nodded. You're right. All we can do is live our own lives well and cherish the happiness in front of us.
Yes, cherish the happiness right in front of you. In this life, I'd lost my life once, so I understood life's preciousness even more. I'd been through darkness, so I treasured the warmth of sunshine even more. I no longer dwelled on past grudges, nor did I hold resentment against those who'd hurt me because they'd already gotten what they deserved. And I already had my own happiness. I had friends who truly cared for me, a husband who gave me his whole heart, parents who were my solid support. Everything was so complete. Jiang Chen and his mother ultimately paid the heaviest price for their evil deeds. One sentenced to death, with no chance to start over. The other behind bars, wasting her years in prison. Their former obsession and malice became the cage that trapped them. With no way out, Wang Shuqiu was dragged into the abyss by her own scheming and greed, losing her life for nothing, leaving behind a lonely, forgotten end. This ending is full of lessons and warnings. Those who scheme too much will eventually be trapped by their own schemes. Those who toy with true feelings will surely pay for their insincerity. Karma always comes full circle, and it never favors anyone with evil in their heart. The rest of my life is long. No need to rush or cling to the past. Those dark and painful memories from before, they'll eventually fade with time, turning into smoke and clouds, and the warm sunlight will always break through the haze, lighting every step ahead. From now on, I'll hold Linjo's hand tightly, care for Anna as she grows, honor my parents wholeheartedly, treasure my dear friends, and fill our ordinary days with warmth and vitality, making the rest of my life peaceful and smooth. Because I know deep down the best life is never built on scheming and calculation, but on genuine effort and treating each other with sincerity. Love yourself, cherish those around you, guard your own heart, walk steadily forward, and that is the greatest fulfillment in this life.